Good morning, everyone. Kansas Sports HQ here, episode 86. Today we're going to talk about time management, whether that's personal life, athletic life, anything in life. I think that's something that many people are challenged with. And in today's world of things, there's always some unexpected, or I guess expectations and unexpected things that happen and stuff like that. So let's talk about it. But as always, good morning, fellas.
Top of the morning.
How's your day?
Yeah, my back's feeling a little bit better. Moved around a little bit more today. Hopefully, by the time I'm sanding the deck, it'll be hurting less.
He hasn't been focusing on his mobility.
That's also not true.
This is why what I always say as of this morning.
You always say it, but as of this morning. So it started this morning.
Mobility is having more ability to have the ability to move.
Good. Keep going. Yeah.
Wow.
You said more. You said more down there.
That's powerful.
I'm still workshopping it.
Come on. That was your cue of opportunity to just keep the circle of conversation going.
It repeats itself, just
Next
in
year.
different, just in
Next
different,
year's our year.
just in different ways per se.
Can't wait for 2027.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's true. Very true.
Lord.
I'm glad you're here today. Glad you're feeling better.
Oh yeah, I was gone yesterday. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
The last
Sean also decided to take pre-workout at like 10 o'clock
Last,
last
like,
night and get a workout
36
in.
hours have been kind of weird.
Did you sleep?
Last night? No.
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I woke up at this is flashing back about however many hours, but yesterday morning it was like 5, and I normally don't get up till like 7, between 7 and 8, normally 7:30, 8 o'clock. So waking up at 5, I was already kind of tossing and turning before that, and then we'll just say, had issues. Was in the bathroom for a while, and then a long time. It was no, I'm not gonna describe it, but I thought I was gonna throw up, all that good, not bad stuff. So I went back to sleep for a little while, and then woke up to my original alarm. I was so mad I didn't shut that off. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because I was sleeping good then. Once I fell back asleep, took me a little while. And yeah, so I texted Sheldon yesterday. I was just gonna try and rest the rest of the day because I didn't know how much more. And there was more.
Yeah.
A little bit more throughout the day. And even as I try to get up and get moving around 11:30, I sat down with some food and then ate the food and fell right back asleep for about another hour and a half. Finally made it into work though. Still showed up. Time management, but then I didn't get a lift in yesterday, so I decided it would be really smart after we were getting scores in last night from testing and texting after I got done texting the parents, and decided I was going to get a lift in and took pre-workout at 10:30 last night. Really kind of gets yeah, no, he can keep talking. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
I can't make it stop.
Yeah, no. Keep going. But yeah, ended up basically sleeping about 45 minutes last night, and then because I had 6 a.m. discipleship group today.
Yeah. Nice.
Which went well. I stayed awake the whole time, and I just went back to lift, so I got about 2 lifts in within 10 hours. It's a good time.
Yeah.
9 hours.
Yeah. Very nice.
But yeah, we'll see how the rest of the day goes.
Sure.
An escapade.
So there you go, guys.
You can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Last night I went to one of the Forged Wichita events. It was pretty cool.
Forged with.
It's just called Forge Wichita. It's in Des Moines and it's in Wichita. It's a men's group that they have like little conferences and stuff like that. So it's I went to one that my dad recommended to go to. The speaker was actually a guy from my church. Pretty cool. Former FBI hostage negotiator. It
Oh,
was about holy listening and just like the way that the Bible leads into some of the ways that the FBI teaches people how to negotiate. Is actually really, really interesting. And I've met a few people that or connected with a few people that I've seen somewhere before. Can't put, I try to go everywhere, it seems, but I didn't necessarily remember their name, but talked to them and then afterwards hung out for a little bit. And that was pretty sweet. The place we were at was really, really cool. So,
Yeah, that place is kind of neat.
yeah, I talked
They used
to
to have baseball cages in there a long time ago.
up top.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He would, the owner of it. He was telling me that it used to be like a immigrant station where they could come in, do their paperwork coming into the country correctly, and then they'd have like little shower stations, places just to do things like that. And he showed me their kitchen. They do like an 8-course meal type thing sometimes, and I don't know. It was just really, really neat to see. And then
Yeah.
at the end of it, everybody lit up cigars. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
excellent.
But
Yeah, a long time ago, Denton had
Why didn't you lead with
baseball
that?
practice in there. That's the only way that I remember that building was because he would have practice up
Where's
there.
the building at?
It's kind of at Delano,
yeah,
Oh, really?
down right by the taco shop or taco, whatever it is.
so Joe's Car Wash,
Like
just
behind
on
there.
Walnut or whatever. There's, I think the Hill Bar or whatever. Is it the Hill? The Hill.
That's
Somewhere-
farther down.
actually
I
the
think.
Seneca at Douglas and Seneca, just to the right. There's a McDonald's and stuff right there. It's just right off the
Yeah.
backside of that.
I see what you're pointing at.
TJ's Tacos is right around there too, or Tacos TJ, whatever.
There's a pizza place down there.
Yeah.
The Monarch is what I think you're talking about. The Hill's way farther down. Hill's like east side.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. The Monarch.
There's a quick trip
yeah.
right across the road.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's walking distance.
Around Seneca.
Yeah.
If it was a
Mhm.
Casey's, he'd know.
I've been to that quick trip before on my way to the golf course.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Now you can put a pin in it.
Yeah. So let's
down
talk. Let's talk about our topic today: time management. I'm going to give you the definition.
Oh,
The simple definition is the ability to use one's time effectively or productively, especially at work. Time management is the key to efficient working. Time management is best defined as the process of planning and exercising conscious control over the time spent on specific activities to increase effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity, involving skill like prioritizing tasks, setting goals, scheduling, organizing, and minimizing distractions to achieve a better work life balance. It is about working smarter, not just harder, to accomplish important goals and reducing stress.
no, I'm not good at that. There we
So-
go. Stress is whatever, but the rest of it, I'm not very good at that.
So, time
Now-
management.
So
Or-
our focus of the time management is going to be more towards athletes and what to prioritize in their time management, and we're going to break down a little bit on that. Because if I were talking about myself, time management, I think you can listen to my last 36 hours and say, "Oh, not great, not great." But we'll table that discussion.
So I guess for the athlete side of it, do you use your calendar? Like
calendar?
your iCal on your phone. Do you use your iCal?
No. I did get a text from old person of my past. He used to coach me in basketball. He wanted to get on a call. I used it for that to remind me.
Okay. Sheldon, do you use your iCal?
Yeah, a little bit. I got a bunch of calendars, but different calendars for different things, I think.
Well, we have a calendar here in the office.
So one of the effective things in the up and coming generation is creating all of your Plans in a digital calendar or planner to block out time for training, academics, and recovery while prioritizing tasks to avoid burnout.
That's a up and coming thing.
No, it's like the generation that is coming that's with us is
Yeah.
using that. Like
So,
it's been a I mean, I see people with their calendars out and they're like, "Oh, my life depends on this." And I'm like, "Oh, that's where my calendar is."
brother, I just wing it.
So
I was like,
then
I've always just thought this where I need to be. This where I need to be.
so let's talk
Whatever.
about time management as an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I think to preface our conversation comes from talking to athletes in our program about
Parents.
parents too, but changing of schedules and, so people start like rearranging a ton of different things and like over analyzing all of these deals and so we start talking like for example, spring sports are getting ready to start, right? And so you're going to get new schedules in spring sports, which is understandable. Everybody gets that. And getting settled into the spring sports is fine. But the spring sports schedule is no different than any of the other schedules. I mean, it's all the same stuff. Like you practice after school, you have your games during the week. Like they are pretty much set in stone on an annual basis. Like you may have a few outliers here and there, that type of stuff. But we talk, vividly about, staying consistent and making sure that you're still following your training schedules during your seasons to be able to, continue your progression and not start to regress and go backwards on all of the things that athletes work so hard to get to. And so we start talking about like, asking people, well, okay, well, like tell us a little bit about the schedule, what's changing, how do we still make this work? Because maybe you got to move a time here, maybe you got to move something there. Like you got to be flexible in the schedule. Like all of that's understandable, but the common answer that we get quite often is just, oh, we're just getting too busy and we're just not going to be able to do anything. And it's like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, you're just choosing not to continue to do anything, or like, do you literally think that you're gonna go to school and then have practice and then be, doing something for the following 6, 7 hours before you go to bed, I guess? Like, that's the part of it where we're trying to, like, figure out, like, "Wait, what?" Like, how how do you run out of this time all of a sudden just because you're switching the sport that you're playing, I guess? And so we started having those conversations and just talking about how, like, you know, all this is better time management, finding a different time, finding ways to stay consistent. And oh, I don't know, maybe you have to sacrifice some stuff that isn't super important to your athletic career and developing and doing all of those things. Like you might not be able to, go do this fun thing every Tuesday or whatever it is based off of these scheduling changes. Or, maybe, and God forbid, you get up a little bit earlier and maybe have to do something in the morning or change the schedule that
Nope.
way. Like, it's just it's an excuse. Like, it boils down to that. Like, people quite often use petty excuses to get in the way of them being able to get results that they claim that they say that they want. But yet, when the going gets a little bit tighter, things change up. It's like, "Okay, we're just gonna back off doing anything of the extra stuff, and we're just gonna do this." And then they wonder why all of a sudden they start just slowly but surely starting going downhill in the opposite direction. And it's like, well, we can only say the same thing so many times. Like there's got to be some sense of accountability and understanding that you're going to have to sacrifice certain things. You're going to have to put yourself into, spots to keep the consistency going and keep the discipline going. And so yeah, so that's kind of the preface of the conversation, like what we had talked about, and just dealing with different. In there's a lot of high school athletes that we talk to about stuff like that because time management in general for them, I think, is just a little bit harder. But that's also part of our job and part of like why we're doing what we're doing is to help educate them and be like, hey, if you're gonna try to go to college, man, like you got to understand what that schedule is going to look like because if you think you're busy right now with an hour and a half practice after school,
Well, I mean,
good
with
luck.
the college athletes that we've talked to and seen over the past whatever years that it's been, they have a morning practice or morning workout, and then they go to school,
Mhm.
and then obviously they eat, and then they have real practice, and then they have to do their schoolwork,
Mm-hmm.
and then he said, but you know what I'm saying, Sean.
It'll get done.
Well, it'll get done, yeah. So, and
Find a way.
then
All
you
these
also
other teams on
have
campus had study halls. I'm like, not the
we had
baseball team.
we had a study hall in at Pittsburgh, but
Yeah, football team needs it. So
yeah, team needs you, yeah. Too much CTE,
You need your GPA.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then you have to
Not
look
there.
into your after homework activities. Are you going to veg out and watch TV, or are you going to go get that lift in and work out?
Yeah.
I mean, some of those. I mean, maybe I have a night plan to play NCAA football. I don't know.
I mean, there's a few schools, don't get me wrong. Like, I went to Carroll. I understand how hard school can be because there's private schools and smaller schools that like you get loaded up with stuff that you got to do. But the ones that are still doing it, they still find the time. Like
Oh yeah.
no matter what, it's an excuse.
So
But I also went to public school, and that is the easiest thing in the world. So if you're trying to tell me that you go to a public school, especially here in this area, and you are too busy with schoolwork, I assure you, you are doing nothing while you are at school, or
because
skipping, or not doing,
if
or
you're at the
whatever.
public school, you're learning the same stuff we did when we were in public school, and you're getting the same workload probably.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
If
not
not
far.
less.
If not less.
Well, maybe equivalent to
so you know
Public school was an absolute joke compared to Carroll.
we to
Joke.
speak of like you talking about Carol and how they load up on homework and
Yeah.
constantly. So I have
Which I don't appreciate either. But
no,
it's
and
different comment.
because
I just did my
You
homework
gotta
during class.
well, see, there you go. Because like you have 8 hours of school that you have to have them go and be programmed to be at 8 hours all day, and then you also have to send them with homework too. Because that makes a lot of sense. Because we didn't teach it all in the class, so now you have to go work on it outside of class, and the teacher's not there, and whatever. Whatever. I understand.
Homework shouldn't be a thing.
Anyway, it shouldn't. If you can't cover it all in one class, be better. But
Agreed.
all the teachers gonna be getting in the comments.
I mean,
but
my homework was more retention than it was not knowing everything.
I don't remember any of my homework at all, so it's really serving me well right now. But anyways, so I have an athlete. She goes to Carroll, and she finds a time to practice softball 4 or 5 times a week. Do a one-on-one once a week. Do a regular class once a week, and then still do her outside pitching and hitting once or twice a week. She's finding the time to do it. And
Oh, yeah.
And well, guess what? Her goal is to go be D1. She wants to go D1 for softball.
Does she drive?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here because parents might be pushing them to do this very different than if she could drive. Like if she
Still
could,
doing it.
If she could drive, she'd have even more time on her hands.
but that's one of the things that somebody
She
can
probably
make an
wants to
excuse
drive.
about. You know what I mean?
But when she says her goal is to play D1 softball, she's committed to the process. Whether that was a parent convincing her that this is what it takes and this is what you're going to do, or
It definitely takes the parents. I wouldn't discredit that.
normally they don't say like willingly. They don't say I'm going D1 unless they accepted the terms of like, yeah, this is what it takes. I'm going to try.
So
to
when
do
you
it.
have kids, are you going to like write a contract? We're going D1, sign it. This is what we're going to do until you get it.
Well, so to have kids, first of all, I have to talk to women, and we all know I don't do that. So let's not get there. But, and really with time management, the main focus is prioritizing the right things. It's not necessarily like I got to block out my schedule for every little thing. It is, and you touched on that a little bit in your intro. But it's prioritizing what is more important to my goals. So if schoolwork is the most important, then you got to prioritize that. If it's not the most important, and the fact of the matter is when you go on some job interview, they're not going to ask you what your frickin' high school GPA is. Just putting that out there. I'm not saying go flunk out, but I'm just saying perspective wise. And you really care about your sport and you want to go be the best athlete you can possibly be. then you need to start prioritizing your overall health as an athlete. And what your overall health doesn't come from is extra sport specific practice. And I think that's the biggest thing is parents prioritize and athletes prioritize a lot of times extra sport specific practice as opposed to, if we're talking about our side of things and our perspective, as opposed to the training side of things, because they view this too many times as a conditioning. So, oh, they can't handle that. That's too much. So this is the extra thing. Parisi is just some conditioning and it's an extra thing. When in reality, it is one of the most important things. And if you're already doing a practice tonight, maybe sacrifice one of your, if you're too busy, maybe sacrifice one of your sports specific things to go do this once or twice a week. And that's, oh, we're not saying you have to be here every single gosh darn day, but some people need to be if they want to get to the next level, right? And that's the biggest issue is the prioritizing. Oh, we don't have the time for it, but you have time for 5 team practices a week, 2 lessons, and then 2 extra camps or whatever, whatever you want to call them, extra sport specific things because you think more sport specific stuff is going to help you be a better athlete at your sport when in theory, sure, but there's a ceiling there unless you get more athletic and more mobile and more injury preventative.
Well, and then it's going to hit them in the face when they either don't make the high school team, they don't perform on the high school team well enough, or it's time to go to college and they don't have a chance to go to college because every single one of those coaches is going, "You're not athletic enough." And then they go, "Oh,
Probably should have done that
well, it's
overall
just
athletic training.
it's just they go, dude, yeah, you're mediocre speed, you're mediocre across the board, you're mediocre in the sport because like they always, not always, it's just a high percentage athletes. It's too late when it finally makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is they think, oh, I'm 17 or whatever. Now I need to start working on this. And it's like, dude, you're 5 years behind, 6 years behind.
Absolutely.
Like your body has changed a million times in many different ways. And you could have been working to progress through that to where you're not in this mediocre state now. And I assure you, you would be just as good at your sport, if not better, if you were just a better athlete. If you
Oh,
were
yeah.
stronger, you were faster, you understood your body more.
What
You're going to be better.
Something when I first started here that I heard, when we brought new families in to check the place out that I kept hearing Sheldon say was, no one's ever going to turn down a good athlete for their team. Like nobody's ever going to be like, you're too athletic, So like, especially at this age, you talk about, especially in that like 12 to 16 range, especially for guys. Girls, it's a little like I would say girls maybe more like 9 to 14, 9 to when that biggest like growth spurt changing is happening for the most part. Like when you are only doing sport specific thing, your body gets stiff really, really quick. And it's hard to break out of those tendencies in your body. And use me as a cautionary tale. What you were just talking about, that was exactly me. Like I didn't work on speed, strength, agility seriously because, I did my extra lifting and whatnot for football weights or whatever. But I got to a point where I'm like, well, I'm just not athletic. So I'm just going to focus on hitting the ball more. I'm going to focus on, shooting hoops more. I'm going to focus on, throwing the football at the tree more. Like I'm just going to focus on technical and fundamentals because I'm just, I just wasn't blessed with athleticism. So then I'm like, whatever. And then, you get into college and I'm like, and I'm working my butt off, but I'm so far behind athletically. And so even though I gain strength, it doesn't translate to my sport. So I worked my butt off. I worked out 6 to 10 times a week for the last 2.5 years of my college career. 3 to 5 times a week before that. And it did not make me a better baseball player at the end of the day. Didn't necessarily hurt me.
Sure.
But I didn't have a good foundation of overall athletic performance to go off of. And so that's the issue is like, they're like, well, this is just extra conditioning. You just can't handle that right now. We got them in this thing, 2 different sports at the same time. They go 9 months out of the year. We just can't handle that right now.
Yeah.
And so, especially in those really formative years in your body, you get so used to these movements that are straight line in your sport, and you get stiffer, and you plateau in that sport because you're not unlocking you're not breaking through your glass ceiling of athleticism.
Question.
No.
Do you feel like when athletes are going to sports specific people, let's say soccer, the soccer skills, do you think those coaches who do you think those coaches have a ceiling for themselves of where they can take their athlete? Or if the athlete was actually, let's say, in here becoming more overall athletic, do you think that elevates their one-on-one
Yeah. Absolutely.
in their sport?
Absolutely.
Like you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the people
Yeah.
who are choosing to just do the sport specific and saying, "Oh, I'm getting better at my sport," but they hit the ceiling. And do you think their coach is saying, "Hey, listen, you've hit your ceiling"? Do you think those coaches do that like we would here?
I don't think they say that, but they probably think that.
They just don't. They don't continue to try to progress
Right.
them. They stay locked in.
Well, the difference is their athletic ability is what inhibits them.
And then they're just like, well, you're not
It's not about
blessed with
what
the
they think. It's about what they can do with what they got to work with.
and the coaches,
That's the issue.
and then we hear about these baseball programs or soccer programs or football programs having their own weights and conditioning programs. And it's first of all, once again, we've been over this before, but it is the same thing everybody else is doing. You want to be set apart, you have to do something different.
It's general fitness.
Yeah. And it's exactly, I saw something in uh a Facebook group about, I don't know, it said like $50 a
Yeah, the
time.
speed camp or whatever. I
Yeah,
saw that
speed
too.
and agility camp or
Yeah.
speed and strength camp,
Or the PE
8
class.
to 8 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You're like, "Merp."
I was just like, I kind of wanted to comment, I didn't. I was like, hey, you want an actual workout? And look, it's not like the intentions of these people are bad, right? Like the intentions of these people aren't bad. They want to get them introduced into fitness and do this, but the execution isn't going to be there. If people want to come here and complain about our prices or whatever, which when you break it down, and it's not that bad, of course, but if they want to complain about that price,
Look at our knowledge base compared
well,
to the
exactly.
others.
Like we are not just another conditioning branch off of an organization. No, this is what we do. Yes, there's baseball teams that practice in here, but we're not like, that's not our baseball teams, right? This is what we do. This is our focus is athletic performance. And it's not just an extra conditioning just to, what did I describe it as? I can't remember what I described it as one time. A fail safe, essentially.
Yeah.
To make sure your athletes are doing something because you know that they have to be better athletically, but you don't want to take the practice time, obviously, because you want to use your practice time to get them better at the sport. That completely makes sense as a coach, right? So you don't want to program in extra speed and agility, especially if you don't have the knowledge base for it. Maybe you do, but like you don't want to take that time out of practice. So you just do conditioning or something and you call it good. And then that's not really helping them at their sport. And so it's just, as far as like time management goes, like I said, it's just a priority thing where they see us, we're not connected to a club or anything. So they just see us as like, this is an extra thing. This is an extra thing that we'd have to pay for, and it's something we can get somewhere else. And it's just not true at all. Like,
So create a Parisi club in there for the club.
yeah, it's a little Parisi travel ball club.
No, just call it the Performance Club by Parisi.
Well, and I think that families need to. It's called like the balance that you look at that you have in a week, like a whole week's process and time. That's what needs to be reevaluated, right? I cannot tell you how many times we talk to families and they're like, yeah, we play on 3 teams. We're practicing 6 days out of the week, and that 7th day, like we're still doing a little bit of extra work here, a little bit of extra work
Obviously,
there,
yeah.
and it's like
Got to do something every day of the week.
it's kind of like the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, and don't get me wrong, like there's certain ages, right? If we're talking college athletes, that's one thing. If we're talking high school athletes, even there's some balance there depending on what it is that we're talking about. But when we're talking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and this is your schedule, parents need to understand that playing sports actively in sports, athletes, they are not improving athletically. They are going backwards athletically. And that is something that needs to change. Perception on this topic needs to shift
Mm-hmm.
because people think
Mm.
if I'm playing more sports, I am getting better athletically. And on certain metrics, you could argue, yes, there are certain pieces to it. But if you're playing sports and your kid is at any type of level that is competitive and they're going out there and giving 100% and actually putting in the effort and actually doing the stuff, their body battery, if you will, is going down every time. It's not going above. Like they're not recharging themselves with every practice they go to and every game they play and everything that they do, right? Because that is not the focus of what they do at those things. At your specific sports practice and your sports games, it's all about exerting everything, exerting energy, right? You are depleting your athletic battery, right? I made that up just now, but
Woo.
depleting it.
So
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
good.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Snaps.
The difference is when you focus and
Preach.
build into your week performance-based things, that is your opportunity to recharge that battery, right? That is when you start to actually input back into your athletic makeup to be able to correct issues, solve problems, and be able to strengthen deficiencies. So that way your athlete starts to move the right direction during season, during the week, during practice, during all of
Hey,
that.
whoa. During the season?
Yes.
Whoa,
Oh my
but
goodness.
whoa.
The concept of the
Thought bubble
time.
question mark.
Yeah. But parents have this sense of, well, if we just play on more teams, we're going to be better. If we just play on more things, it's going to happen.
And I say this a lot too, to parents. It's like, okay, that's great. You play all these sports. That's great. Try to play a lot of them as long as you can. But the problem is, a lot of them are at least half a year long, if not more.
Yep.
And then when we're always practicing, our body gets used to practice speed.
That too.
So this is kind of goes back into like we delve
talked about
into
that a
the
little bit, yeah.
conditioning,
Mhm.
right? But your body gets used to practice speed. So you're not getting more athletic by being, especially in a sport like baseball, even basketball, when you are running up and down, soccer, when you are running up and down, because you're getting used to just going enough to not get yelled at. You're going enough to get through the drill and not stop and put your hands on your knees and get yelled at, right? You're going through that 75%. So then your body keeps getting used to that 75%. So, like you said, you are depleting your athletic battery by continuing to do more and more and more and more sport specific stuff. Right. So when we keep stacking on and piling on
Another
work and work and work,
another
and then your
game.
shins and your knees and your ankles are pounding into the turf
my
and pounding into the
gosh.
sand
Now
over
our
and over and over
12-year-old's
again.
ACL's blown out.
Dude, and that's
What?
that is exactly what it is, right? Kids don't grow up outside very much. They
They're
don't fall.
underdeveloped.
They don't do the bank step drop from 19 boxes up and land without a problem, right? Or jump off the Smith machine, right? And they don't grow up moving around. They grow up inside. They grow up
sedentary.
and then the first thing they do, instead of running around outside getting hurt and letting their body get used to climbing, running around, being flexible, it's let's put a glove on and practice ground balls in the perfect form at 4 or 5 years old.
Yep.
And it's like, hold on. I'm like, don't get me wrong, you can do that. But if that's the first thing they do as an athlete, and then you're just piling that on, piling that on, piling
over
that
and over
on,
and over and over,
then
and
they're
over.
not getting more athletic. So
Hold on 1 second. Kansas Sports HQ is currently in the works of trademarking athletic battery.
Oh, there we go. TM. So you build that up over time, and then I lost my groove now, but I guess it was important. We had to make sure
We had to make sure we're
just so
taking
you
that
guys
phrase.
know,
Yeah,
either that or now that you said that, somebody else heard that and they're going right to the patent office right now.
dude, I can trademark that with an envelope.
He's
What
got a
you were
guy.
saying is the mechanical base behind just doing the same things
Right.
over and over and over and over and over again. Athletically, you're not getting better.
Which and then if you don't, here we go. Now I remember what I
I
was
got you.
going
I'll
towards.
lock you back.
Thank you. But yeah, if your first athletic performance type thing or whatever, right? We get into just sports instead of trying to introduce them to movement and learning how to move better. Then that is why we see so many dang ACL and soft tissue and tendon and ligament tears at young ages nowadays. Because back then, sure, we didn't have an athletic performance school, but we grew up outside, beating each other up, hitting each other with sticks,
Running,
falling
jumping,
from
falling.
trees,
Yep.
cutting our knees up on the gravel, go playing with the cattle, trying to run from them, try to ride them.
Yep.
And just kidding. I never tried to ride
You
a cattle.
rhymed a little bit there.
Try to
And
run them. Try to ride them.
well, my
Yeehaw!
southern accent came out
Well,
again.
yeah.
But
Make sure you bring
like
that out on prayer
it,
today.
I'll try. But yeah, it's like we didn't have this back then, but we grew up just moving,
Mhm.
moving, and so running around and doing that, we had a base
Yes.
where, I mean, I never suffered a major injury. I mean, some of the biggest ones are just dumb decisions by me, like getting on top of a couple coolers in a gator. But you know, that's what it all leads to. More and more rigid sport specific practice just leads to more injuries. And you have these kids with elbow issues and kids with wrist issues and kids with knee issues. I mean, got a kid who comes in with a different brace every couple of weeks now.
Yep.
She's all she does is play soccer.
Yep.
It's like it's unreal. I mean, and it's sad, but that's their time management is what can I do to keep up with the Joneses, and all the Joneses are doing more and more sports and more sport specific things.
Yep. Well, and you think about where you spend time management, right? Where you spend the amount of time, because the body is, an easy way that I explain it would be like, especially tendons, ligaments, that type of stuff. Like your body is elastic. Like it's gonna move and it's gonna breathe and it's gonna be able,
Tensegrity.
tensegrity. Yeah. And all right, yeah, there we go. We've been studying.
Did you say tensegrity?
Yeah.
Tensegrity.
Yeah, tensegrity.
So, the way that lives and breathes, if you consistently are putting it through, let's just call it 70%, right? 70% is what your body becomes used to doing, right? Over and over and over. Practice, practice, practice. 70%, 70%. Well, the body gets used to that, right? And the body stores, it's like its own hard drive. Like it stores those memories. It stores the stress. It stores all of that stuff in muscle fiber. And so then I say, all right, guys, now let's go get on the field and I need 100% out of you. And then you try to go at 100%. And then all of a sudden the body is
And
tense.
it's like,
The body's it cannot
well,
be fluid,
and
and then you end up getting hurt.
because what do these kids do to warm up?
Science.
What do these kids
Oh,
do to warm
that's
up?
a whole-
Couple
Drink water.
Yeah, not even.
They
Run
to
from
the,
the
run,
truck.
run to the bench
Gatorade.
and, oh, I need water.
A little bit of Gatorade,
Right.
a little bit of McDonald's pregame,
Right.
And then you're gonna do a couple knee tucks, little butt kicks, maybe some arm circles, some arm across, right. It's things we all did, right?
Oh,
This
for sure.
is things we
Yes.
all did to warm up for a game.
Yes.
But then the kids are all bored of that by game 4, and they're not doing that anymore. They're not doing that
Mhm.
seriously before practice, even that little bit of stretching. And then you're like, run harder, go harder. And then they do. And they're like, all right, coach. And then they, hamstring pulled or something or something along the lines of that. And then it's the same thing with like arm care, right? As these kids play 4 or 5 games in a weekend, and then they're only playing catch to 30, 40 feet. Yep, that's good. Arm's good,
Feels great.
Yeah, feels good. Let's get it. And then the next thing you know, your elbow hurts because you played catch at maybe 60 feet at 75% or less of a throw, and then of your arm strength. And then you go into a game and first throws as hard as you can, and all of a sudden your elbow pops.
Yeah.
You know, Yeah, I mean,
Pulls tight.
that's because and then a lot I mean, it's crazy how many kids cut like, I work with so many kids now, so many of them are, like, natural supinators too.
Mm,
So many kids are now cutting the ball every single time they release. There's more baseball
a
specific.
little bit of spit.
Yep, and then, and so that what that does is
Rotates.
Rotates and has tension on your
that
UCL.
UCL gets strained on the supination, and then so, that's why, like, I try to get them to focus on
And then it snaps when they whip.
right, is to try to,
What
get
about
that
for
thumb down and
bowling when
pronate.
I go like same thing.
Yeah, really it is.
Yes.
If
But
the ball's too heavy and you're overextended, sure.
that's what I mean. You try to rotate,
Well, and
pull
then
that down.
that's why, like, as a professional bowler myself.
Easy.
Yeah, just kidding. I barely ever bowl. We should try to get to a league.
Bowling's fun.
There's a bowling tournament for the Mulvane Chamber.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, not
But
the Valley Chamber, so we can't do it. But
they don't have a bowling alley there.
well, we can figure it out. But yeah, I the a lot of kids are through all of this practices are also developing a lot of bad habits. A
Mm,
lot of bad habits. Like for instance, when we were down in Arizona last year for the Parisi Summit, and Bobby Stroop was giving some of his. So he had a presentation, and then he had a little bit of demo. We didn't have a lot of time for that, which was too bad. And then it was super crowded room, so we couldn't all see him because he's in the middle of the crowd. He's not a big guy. I mean, fit obviously, not a big guy. And then
Yeah.
everybody's phones are up here.
kind of. Yeah.
Like even a tall guy like me could barely see him. But he was demonstrating a bunch of medicine ball throws, which is a great thing to do. And he said pretty much every single throw, thumbs in.
Yeah.
Thumbs in. So even if we just practice that with these kids, and naturally they will get away from even just cutting a baseball or cutting a softball or cutting a football really hard. I don't know why you would cut a football throwing it, but that'd be really hard to throw a good.
When I learned how
football.
to long snap, it was
Thumbs
in,
in,
thumbs
thumbs
down.
in, yeah, and that's just a healthier way to throw, and healthier way to uh, extend.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that. The how you force transfers through your body too, which is all very very interesting. Something we can maybe talk about sometime. But anyways, it's that was a little bit of a sidetrack into just some things that I experience every day. But anywho,
Yeah. I mean, to the time management portion, it's just developing your athlete as an athlete should be the number one priority. And that literally should be the priority until you have decided that you're only going to play one sport, and then you can balance out that schedule once you have made that decision, but it doesn't go away. Like, it doesn't stop. And if at any point in time in your athletic career, I don't care if you're 5, I don't care if you're 25, if you think that
thanks.
stopping your athletic development is even on the radar, I am telling you, you are doing it incorrectly. It is improper. It is not the way that you should be trying to play a sport. If you're going to sacrifice athletic development for anything, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're going to sacrifice that, you are working backwards. You are falling behind. You will not be able to achieve as others are going to achieve because their athletic ability is going to take them farther. And it's that simple. So, whenever you're planning out your schedules, whenever you're working, whenever you're, lining this stuff up, you have to prioritize that. And that's what we obviously are very passionate about with what we do at Parisi, but just in our community and just in our network and just all of the stuff that we're trying to do because it's education based for sure. And it goes back to a lot of our conversations that we have. A lot of people don't know what they're talking about, right? We are professionals in this field, certified in multiple different things inside of this field. I mean, there's so many levels and styles of coaches that are out there. And again, don't knock anybody for where they're at, and hopefully they're trying to do things the right way and move along in the journey. And hopefully they're trying to do the best things for the kids. But at the end of the day, if you are being even slightly told that, oh, well, you don't need to do this because we need to work more on this, that is a short term fix. It's a band aid, essentially. And it's not going to help your athlete long term.
Good, yeah.
It's not like
Mm.
and you won't, and you'll find out and then you'll be out of time. And then when you're out of time, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, I wish I would have spent more time in the weight room. I wish I would have spent more time working on the mechanic base. I wish I would have spent more time doing this, because at a certain level, I would argue probably between that high school and college level, everybody is pretty good at the sport. The differentiator is their athletic ability, right? Mechanically, college coaches typically are coaching a lot of the same stuff, a lot of the same ways. Like there's changes and differences, but there's similarities there, very, very similar. And what separates guys and gals is how fast they are, how strong they are, how quickly they can work through problems, how they solve those problems, and their decision making process. And all of that comes from experience, yes, but all of that comes from their athletic makeup, like in neurological as well too. But it's just as young kids, if you're going to sacrifice and you're looking at time management, this needs to be a prioritization. Like, you have to prioritize your athletic ability if you want to separate yourself from the pack. And that's it. Like, because nobody gives a shit how good you are at 9. Okay. I'm not going to make, and this is my personal preference here, but like, I'm not going to make my kids play sports ever if they don't want to play sports, but they will. But I'm not going to force them into doing a bunch of random adolescent sports. There's no, I can take my kids when they are 11, 12 years old, after they have athletically developed in a program like Parisi, and they've been around and they've been constantly moving. I will teach them as much about whatever sport they decide that they want to play in that year to 2 years that you spent wasting time, money, effort, and energy from the ages of 5 to 12, and they will be better than your athlete at that point in time. And I will put a stamp on that.
Oh, you stamped it.
I will teach anybody that is a better athlete to my level of baseball coaching. I could teach any of them how to play if they're athletically better 10 times out of 10 in college. I could teach them how to hit, how to throw, how to do all those things when you get to that level. You give me 6 months with any kid of rigorous training that is athletically gifted, I could take a kid who's played his entire life and I'll teach a better athlete how to play the sport. It's not even in question. If he's stronger, if he's faster, and we do it in a time management situation, they're going to be better. So quit wasting your time. Like, just quit trying to force feed it down and use it as an excuse. Like, oh, we got this practice. Like, it is not going to pay the dividends down the road. It's not. Because the athletic ability is going to hinder them at some point in time if you don't work on it.
Yeah. You mentioned Band-Aids.
That was a phone drop.
Phone drop.
You mentioned Band-Aids.
Yes. You need one?
No, but I wanted to say something. Short-term fixes. This might be really stupid. This might be
Okay.
really good. We'll see. No, don't snap yet.
Well,
we'll see if I.
It's like a prayer snap.
It's a pre-snap.
Band-Aids turn into braces, which turn into surgeries, which turn into casts,
Lead us
turn into long recoveries.
Oh,
which turn into new. No, not that far, but you know.
Yeah, it was one bad.
No,
Good lead up. Good lead up.
Let's almost have.
Ah,
It was like the Sports Center not taught Tim.
I mean, you started off really well. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. The last part I didn't say all the way.
We didn't. You didn't close.
I didn't want to close. I was gonna say. I'll say it off air. But you know, I joke about getting us canceled, but you know, we don't have enough viewers for that yet, so I probably could have said it.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah. What do you
Just
think?
don't make excuses, people. It's literally.
Look, we say this because we want to help as many athletes as possible. Doesn't matter.
100%.
It doesn't matter. Like, you know, when we come at it hard like this, you want to call it that or what? You know, harsh. I know coaches, 90% of the coaches, probably more, have very good intentions. Whether, you know, they're running an impromptu strength and agility course or doing something on the side for their athletes because they want their athletes to have something. They realize it is important, especially after these kids didn't necessarily grow up running around outside. They need that foundation that they're lacking. But, you know, it's I know the intentions are always good, but we speak this passionately about it because of how much we want to help as many kids as possible. Doesn't matter if you're the worst athlete, your kid's the worst athlete in the world. Doesn't matter if your kid's overweight. Doesn't matter if your kid's super skinny and just super awkward. Doesn't matter if your kid had corrective surgery on their feet. Doesn't matter if your kid is coming off in it like a major surgery, anything. Like, we want to work with every single kid. We want to help you catch up to the pack. We want to help you separate from the pack. So every athlete's trying to do one of those two things, and we want to help you get there. And we know how to. We have the tools at our disposal. We've been doing this for a while, and we're the best out there. So, time management, I guess, is what we were talking about today. Is more of, I suppose, prioritizing the correct things to manage your time, as opposed to filling that schedule up with things that sound good at first and is what everybody else is doing. But remember, if you want to be different from everybody else, you have to do something different than everybody else.
Yep.
Can't be doing the same thing and expect to become better. So don't think about keeping up with the Joneses, thinking about separating from the Joneses.
And be honest. You know what I mean? That is the
self-awareness.
Be honest. Like, be honest with the role, be honest with what you want, be honest with where you're trying to go. Because if your work ethic doesn't match what you say you're wanting to do, that's nobody else's fault except your own. Okay, so don't try to make it about the coach, about this situation, about that. Be honest with your work ethic, and it is okay. Like, if high school sports is the goal, that's great. If college sports are the goal, that's great. If it's professional sports is the goal, that's great. But you have to be honest about what it is that you're willing to sacrifice to be able to try and achieve the things that you want to be able to achieve. And it is literally that simple. Like, and if you're not willing to be honest, don't make it somebody else's fault. Don't try to put it on someone else because you're not willing to do the time management portion of it, right? Because you have a practice or you have this going on, you're not willing to get up at 5 a.m. Just say you're not willing to get up at 5 a.m. and you aren't willing to sacrifice to do the things that it's going to take. You're going to have a better sense of accountability. You're going to feel better about yourself in the long run. And then you're not living some lie. Like, just be honest. Be honest about it. Be honest about the goals that you're setting for yourself. Be honest about what direction you want to go and own it. Like, just own that portion of it.
Yeah,
that will help you long term.
Absolutely. I know, I'm getting to the age of when I talk to my old friends from high school and they talk about, how they wish they did more. They wish they probably woke up at 5 a.m. a few more times, attended a few more weightliftings, took practice more seriously.
Prioritize things.
Sacrifice things. Didn't stay up late.
Did the little thing.
Didn't stay up late on a Friday night when that had a Saturday morning game. And I'm not saying I was perfect either. Obviously, I could have done more. I could have practiced more. I could have, looked into improving my athletic ability too. So it's like, not like I was some perfect athlete or perfect coachable human being, right? I'm just saying I'm at that age right now where I failed a lot and I look back and I don't want other kids. I want to lift up other kids. I want to make sure they have they have the best shot at what they're trying to do moving forward, that I messed up for myself. So
perfecto. Closing her out.
Yeesh.
A little southern twang on the prayer.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi there, baby Jesus.
Wow.
Talladega Nights. Now I'm going to read from, I was only going to read a few verses, and I kept going farther. I'm going to read a lot. So, Hebrews 12, 1 through 17 here. It's pretty much all of Hebrew, all of the Bible, but, all of Hebrews is just bangers. Anyway, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured from sinners such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And have you forgotten the exhortation that addresses you as sons? My son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor be weary when reproved by him. For the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and chastises every son whom he receives. It is for discipline that you have to endure. God is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom his father does not discipline? If you are left without discipline, in which all have participated, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. Besides this, we have had earthly fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them. Shall we not much more be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they disciplined us for a short time, as it seemed best to them, but he disciplines us for our good, that we may share his holiness. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Therefore, lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. Strive for peace with everyone, and for the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it many become defiled. That no one is sexually immoral or unholy like Esau, who sold his birthright for a single meal. For you know that afterward, when he desired to inherit the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no chance to repent, though he sought it with tears. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for bringing us together this morning. Thank you for keeping me going, even though I, made my decisions to never sleep. I just thank you for coming together and having another good conversation. I pray that people hear the positiveness. They don't react harshly to the raising of voices. It comes from passion. It comes from love of our jobs. It comes from love for our athletes and their improvement, Lord. I pray that we seek discipline from our coaches, from our elders, from our fathers, from our mothers, and we enjoy the process of being disciplined by you, Lord, being humbled by you, so we can learn and we can adjust and we can grow closer to you and grow as a more positive impact to all we have in our community and all we come in contact with, Lord. And may we glorify you in all we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, that's it for episode 86, Time Management as an Athlete. We'll see you guys next time, and thanks for joining us.